the worse. You know, the more I see it, the more I just laugh at it, because I can't believe people still believe in this stuff. You know, don't be believing in people who are saying they got kidnapped by aliens. Who the hell are you? Like, come on, really? You seen some alien activity and stuff like that. I don't know why people want so desperately to believe this spooky, crazy stuff. And like, I won't touch on the subject unless I can really, you know, back it up by something. You know, a lot of this stuff with the Anunnaki is just so easy to disprove. Just knowing who Stitching was, one. And then the fact that everybody's trying to put all this religious stuff mixed in with it that wasn't there before. And it's just giving you, anybody that's trying to promote the Bible as being real, Jesus being real or anything like that, it's a fucking liar, man. Y'all need to just really understand that and stop following these people and giving these people so much time. It's just, don't get me wrong, it's good to know the information, because then you know how to break it apart once you know the bullshit they're talking about. But as far as the people believing in it and, you know, sending me, you know, videos and messages about, you know, the shit people talking about, I'm not wasting my time with that garbage, because I already know what these people are trying to do. Again, the whole thing with the dragons this is real shit. This is stuff you can really look up, and it's just too many civilizations that talked about the same thing. You're not going to find that with the Anunnaki. You're not going to find multiple civilizations that's going to give you figurines and proof or what have you of this stuff happening. So even when you get into the Assyrian text and you understand what they talked about, you know, the Sumerians and what have you, yeah, those depictions and everything like that fits with everything else reptilian. So they're showing you in those depictions the pineal gland, which anything reptilian will represent that Kundalini energy and activating that pineal gland, that third eye. So when you get into the Gnostic text again, when they're talking about the worship of these serpents or these serpent beings, remember, you know, the serpents were considered immortals. That serpent energy was considered, you know, immortal, which if that's the serpentine energy of the soul, which the soul is immortal, is giving you that connection. So a lot of this stuff that we look at is just so easy to go and research and find more tangible stuff to back it up. So as I talked about before, you know, everything changed once Kemet fell. You know, the old ways had to be done away with, and they actually went out and executed this plan. It's not a coincidence that we see this execution being done by Rome and Britain. And then when we look at the depictions, who's fighting these dragons? These are like Roman and British soldiers. You know, the whole thing with, you know, armor, fighting these dragons. We see those depictions from Britain, from Rome. And it's as if it was some type of decree. And again, this also is, you know, way before television. Like a lot of these paintings and depictions are real. These are real paintings that someone painted, real depictions from back then of this dragon wars, as if some type of decree was made to go and wipe these dragons out. So when you get into what Maria Gambudis talked about, and a lot of these societies, that these dragons were spiritual beings, and they had this connection with women, and super spiritual connection that women had over these serpent dragons. Again, I talked about this before. That's why in, you know, Game of Thrones, it's a woman that's controlling the dragons, even though the family was, you know, basically the house of the dragons or what have you, but she was the mother of dragons. It's giving you that whole connection and understanding of what's going on and how this connection used to exist a long time ago. Man came and wiped these dragons out for whatever reason, because they didn't want us having this connection to the spiritual world that we must have had with these serpent dragons. So we've seen everything from reptilian shapeshifters. And again, you got to remember, they tell us that we crawled out of the primordial waters, and through evolution, we get all these beings or what have you, and then eventually dinosaurs, and then everything basically cooled down. So within our genetics somewhere, we have this dinosaur or dragon DNA, and that's something that's proven as far as us having reptilian DNA. We can prove that. So it's one of the ways that they're going to say, you know, this is why we have this reptilian connection, the reptilian lower brain. And I got into the whole missing link and trying to understand what fits there, you know, as far as the evolution scale, where we have a missing link that we share common ancestors with these apes or what have you. So these primates. So that connection, a lot of people will say, hey, it's the reptilian connection or a reptilian alien connection. And again, it's no way around something tampering with our genetics and creating us when you really dig deep. It's nowhere around that. So something created us, whether it was these reptilian beings, who knows? In the Gnostic text, that's basically what it's getting into, us being trapped in this flesh or what have you. And you get into, so I showed you guys the eye gold. You see that serpent wrapped around the egg. We find that in Gnosticism as well. And it's so much symbolism around reptilians, snakes, or what have you in our creation. There's so much symbolism around, you know, the serpentine energy and, you know, the serpents, the snakes. The Garden of Eden gives you the serpent, as I talked about before. God curses the serpent on its belly. And what snake do you know of that's not already on its belly? So that's giving you the serpent dragon, which has arms and legs or what have you. And you find that in the Garden of Hesperides, as I talked about, where you have the serpent dragon and the apples of immortality. It's just so much wrapped up in it. And the thing that keeps me coming back is you just can't get around the fact that, one, we find this in the non-commodity manuscripts, the serpent worship or what have you, but the fact that so many ancient historians, and especially with Homer, and writing, you know, these, the Theogonies, the Odyssey, the Iliad or what have you, all these, you know, mythologies that he's talking about dragons, and dragons is so much mentioned in his work as if it was a big deal with these dragons. So Satan being called the dragon, representing the lower brain, having to do with, you know, your want and desire for material, as I talked about, is, again, it's a part of you. You know, it's the yin yang, the good and evil, the light and the darkness. So him being the representation of darkness is representing your want and desire for materialistic things, your evil part, because the evil stuff that people do is in this materialistic world, which he represents. So that's all that is. You know, flying or what have you, and going heaven, you know, wings and all that. Bird brain, limbic system, bird brain, wings, you know, put it together. So our angels have wings, because that's what they're talking about. Higher brain, higher level, God. And the thing is, you got to combine the two to get the power. It's something we strive to do every time we go to sleep, when you really understand. And your subconscious cuts you off from that. And so when we really look, you know, we find these connections. And that's what I wanted to touch on. Got a lot of questions from people about that topic and making those connections. I have a lot of videos and a lot of information on that. And, you know, this, again, that's why I'm putting these videos out, to touch more on these subjects, because it's a lot of information. And I know it's a lot of new people, a lot of people just getting into this stuff. It's a lot to take in. And, you know, you guys have no idea. It's a rabbit hole, it's a journey, really get into all this. And for the beginner, it's spooky running into this stuff. You know, as I said, when I first started out, kept running into this stuff. Running into satanic worship and Satan and dragons and what have you. And it's a lot, you know, it's a lot you're going to run into. So I try to make these videos to make it easier for people that's out here really looking for the truth. I mean, YouTube is a tough place. You know, there's a lot of disinformation out there. There's a lot of people that's agents and on here for bullshit. So it's tough for you to choose what to believe and what not to believe. So again, you know, I invite you guys to do your own research. And most people who tell you that say that because they know goddamn well you're not. You're going to be on YouTube. You ain't got time to read books or what have you. But I've been saying this shit for decades now. So again, do your own research. When you do your research, the dots you connect will line up with what I'm saying. I'm just telling you like that. You're not going to find, like, it's a person can come on here and tell you they got visited by aliens. You still way you can prove that bullshit. It's just like when we first got biblical texts from people. You come to somebody with a book or a manuscript or what have you, and you say, hey, the Lord gave me this message, I wrote this book. There's no way you can believe that shit. How can you prove that? It's no proof. Then the shit that you put in the book that you're saying is supposed to happen and be true, I can't find no proof of that. Then this whole, you know, blessings of what we're supposed to get as far as repenting and praising God or Jesus or what have you, we're not seeing, you know, the power of prayer. We're not seeing it. You know, people pray for something, they get it 5 years later, oh, Jesus gave it to me. I mean, it's bullshit. The common smart person will understand this is not right. This is a story. It's what it is, it's a story. So yeah, when I give you guys these stories, I try to give you as much information as possible. So, and I try to show you guys books and stuff where you can go to try to, you know, make up your own mind on this whole thing. But it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of information. So hopefully you guys are doing your due diligence and looking to this stuff. But yeah, I wanted to touch on this real quick because, again, I know how, you know, spooky it is to get into this whole dragon thing. And, you know, I talk about it, but I don't want people to jump off because it sounds spooky. There's a lot of validity to it. It's a lot of stuff you just can't ignore. So the more we dig into this, or you'll see in the videos that I put out already, but the more we get into it coming up, you'll see how, you know, truthful a lot of this information is. But yeah. Thank you guys for supporting everybody who grabbed the sales. Definitely never pay a membership. Get on that. It's going to be gone. Make sure you guys take advantage of the Merkabah catalog or what have you. And everything is going out. You know, books is the only thing that's being held up, but we're going to get on that and get it out. A lot of people waiting for flash drives. We're getting those out. A lot of back orders. We're getting them out. They're going to go out. And yeah, so I appreciate patience on that. And I appreciate everybody who's been supporting. And I talked about in a previous video. Thanks to everybody for the support and the messages, the words of encouragement or what have you. As I said, you know, it's a lot going on. It's a lot I've been through, but the reason why I'm back on here is because I'm at a point where I can see, you know, everything's going to be okay. So, you know, got to take care of your family, got to do a lot, and make sure mental state, that's the biggest part, is cool. You know, I went through a lot. I have no idea. I'll talk about it eventually, but it was a lot real crazy, stressful shit that really had me at the end. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So luckily, there's some good people out there, and I appreciate everybody who been supportive. But yeah, I'm good now. Everything is good. You know, I'll get back everything I'm supposed to get back, and it'll be straight. What I can't do is stop putting out this information because it's just too much. And it's a lot of people who depend on the information to connect dots, and I appreciate you guys, you know, coming here to this channel to do so. But yeah, thanks for supporting. See you guys next video.